Well, it certainly is a sad day for the IMPD family and the whole city of Indianapolis.
A police officer doing a routine traffic stop who gets brutally shot.
His condition is really critical at this time.
Someone out there knows who did this.
And Metro Police believe they just caught the man who shot an Indianapolis Metro Police officer today. Good evening, I'm Jenny Runovich. Chopper 13 captured that arrest on camera just 30 minutes ago. We are following breaking news on the arrest and how the officer is doing tonight. 29-year-old Officer David Moore is in critical condition right now at Wishart Hospital. He was shot at 9 o'clock this morning during a traffic stop. Dozens of officers and SWAT team members spent the whole day searching for a suspect. They just caught this man, Thomas Hardy, in the 2300 block of Indianapolis Avenue. We have comprehensive coverage for you tonight. Eyewitness News will take you to the shooting scene, to the hospital, and the area where they found the suspect. Again, we want to show you these pictures from Chopper 13. It was there as investigators arrested the suspect, Thomas Hardy, just before 5:30 this evening, the 2300 block of Indianapolis Avenue on the city's north side. This is the area. You can see there he is coming out of the vehicle. Officers placing him on the ground, placing him in handcuffs. It appeared to go as planned without incident. He didn't appear to try and get the officers away at all, and they took him into custody without incident, then took him to the city-county building downtown. Our crime beat reporter Steve Jefferson now shows us the day-long search for that suspect.
There's a bathroom on the bus, and the door's shut, and they can't get it open.
This eyewitness to the search for the man police believe shot Officer David Moore got ushered off a bus headed to Chicago.
I hear all the sirens, and then the bus driver pulls over, he gets off, and then I can see the rifles walking up alongside of me, and then they just said, "Put your hands up."
SWAT officers searched the bus for Thomas Hardy, reportedly on the run. They checked the bus restroom and found it empty. Investigators believe the 60-year-old suspect opened fire on Officer Moore. It happened Sunday morning as Moore stopped a stolen gold '98 Toyota Camry like this one.
Apparently he exited the car, and what we believe happened is the driver or drivers exited and shot him there on the scene.
After a shootout, police say Hardy struck another vehicle fleeing the scene. Officer Moore suffered multiple gunshot wounds, not able to call for help.
We found out when a citizen called 911 saying that an officer was laying on the street bleeding.
Officers checked other cars fitting the same description, like this one, parked in a front yard. Downtown, we witnessed officers using their smartphones to show restaurant employees Hardy's photograph. Police warned them to call 911 if he showed up.
And we will not rest until we bring this person responsible into the police department.
Officer Moore comes from a family of law enforcement. That family is now praying for his recovery and the suspect's capture. And we're live here where the suspect was arrested. It's down the street here on Indianapolis Avenue. The suspect right now is at the city-county building with detectives in charge of the case. Right now, Officer David Moore's family is at Wishart giving a press conference about the shooting.
Member of this force, and I am very proud to have been a member of it. We expect that within the next 12 to 24 hours we will have an idea as to what's going to happen with David. I would appreciate any prayers, any thought that you could have for us. Our friends have been doing that, but the more the better. I think if you ever met David, you would find him to be a fine man, a good person. His mother and I love him very much, and we will be through this thing, I'm sure, and with God's grace, we will see him better, and we'll see him back to work one day, a job that he loves to do for the city of Indianapolis. Do you have any questions?
Lieutenant, knowing he was shot during a traffic stop, we always hear there's no such thing as a routine traffic stop. What's your response?
It is the most dangerous work a police officer does for the most part, other than domestic disturbances. Because you never know who you're going to stop. And in this case here, this is what happened. David stopped this individual, and from what I understand, the man came out firing. And as one officer put it to me, they basically ambushed David. He was hit at least 4 times that I know of, and may have been hit or shot after he was down. the investigation still goes on to determine that.
Spencer, what type of conversations did you and David have growing up when he first of all noticed, you know, what you did? Did he ever tell you, Dad, I'm worried about you going out? And then when he became of age, the conversations you had on what you need to do to protect yourself?
Well, David is a very strong-minded person. He's very successful, very good police officer. He went to Purdue, graduated there. We thought maybe he would go some other way, but this is where he went. And how can you blame him? His mom and dad have been police officers for a long time. Yes, we talked about the problems that you would face as an officer and those dangers, and yes, he was concerned about when we went to work. But it is a father's duty to always be concerned about their kids, and this is the last thing that any father, any parent would ever want to get a phone call to tell you that your son or your daughter or your child has been injured. And in this one particularly is so heinous because it's somebody who intentionally did the damage, who intentionally took a firearm and shot him, with the intent, as far as I'm concerned at least, to kill him.
Lieutenant Moore, who was it that called you, and what was that conversation like?
Well, a good friend of mine on the department, Lieutenant Tony Gatto, called me. I just got back from church, and I knew by his stuttered talk that there was a problem, but I had no imagination it was this. But he asked a question. He said, "Is David working today?" And I knew immediately that there was a serious problem. And I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Well, I think he's been hurt." And I said, "What's hurt?" And he said, "I think he's been shot." We hung up, and I immediately called the communications sergeant who verified it, and they immediately sent or dispatched a car to my home to pick me up, because I certainly was not in any shape to drive up here. I cannot hear. I would like again to reiterate that my wife, who had left this morning for a cruise in Florida on a vacation, had to be brought back. And it was the help of the director and the mayor and the chief who was able to arrange that rather rapidly and got her back here by about 3:30 this afternoon. And that was not an easy call to tell her, let me tell you.
Spencer, all afternoon we've been out following the police as they've shaken this town from one end to the other, cordoned it off. We got information just a little while ago that they have a person of interest in custody. When you hear about first of all, the effort that officers put forward today, similar to probably work that you did when you were a police officer, and then word that a person of interest is in custody, what's your reaction?
Well, the first thing is I told the officers that were in the auditorium, because I talked to them several times, I want them to be careful. Apparently this suspect, or this person of interest, if that's who it is, thought nothing about shooting an armed police officer. So they were putting themselves in harm's way to apprehend this individual. Now, I understand that good progress has been made. I haven't been formally told that an arrest has actually been made, but I understand it's either very close or may have already occurred. But I think that Sergeant Thompson will address that later.
Spencer, have you had any response to your son? Has it squeezed your hand? Or?
This is the bad part of it. He suffered a great deal of trauma to the neck area and some damage to bones and tissues in and around the neck. As of yet, he has responded to any of the neurological events that they've attempted, but the doctors, although they're very guarded, think that maybe after he is stabilized, that maybe he will do that. But he's still, as I've told people, I'm hopeful, but unfortunately I am yet not to say I'm optimistic.
What do you expect the next 24 hours to be like here at Busher for you and your family?
It's draining, terrible, horrible, prayerful, everything that we can think of to muster the support of the people around us to help him. And I think if any of you out there are parents, when you look at your child in this shape on a bed, you wish you could trade places with him, which I sincerely do.
Have you had any contact from the fish fund?
I understand through a third party that they were interviewed today and they sent their best wishes, and I do know the Fishburnes and that incident that happened there.
Do you have any other children?
I have a daughter who's a little older than David, who's a school teacher, and she of course has been here, and the rest of the family that's close-knit, but the extended family that's been here has just been tremendous. It's
When David first started talking about wanting to be a police officer, and was there anything besides the fact that mom and dad were, which clearly would have an influence? Did he have specific sort of goals or
I I think he wanted to be a police officer probably from a very early age, particularly when he saw mom and dad in uniform and police cars, and he would hear us talk about certain things and about the job, that sort of thing. So it would be very early on, and he prepared himself for the job because at Purdue that's what he studied, criminal justice, and he very good. He was the recruit officer of the year. He's had medals of valor. Been very successful and is well respected on the department.
40 years on the job, have you ever been involved in a shooting, anything like that, anything?
Yes, I have been. It's been a long time ago. Unfortunately, I could probably count 13 or 14 officers that I knew personally that died in the line of duty. These circumstances are not totally unfamiliar, but it takes on a whole different pale when it's your child, when it's someone like this.
You were on the force for 40 years, is that?
Yes, just right under.
Your wife?
She started her 26th year.
When did David graduate from high school?
Roncalli.
And what year did you graduate?
Oh, you asked. Those are mother's questions, unfortunately. I think it was 2000 because he was on that undefeated national or undefeated state champion when he was there as a football player, and I think that was 1999. So I think he would have graduated the next, because he was a senior at that time. So probably 2000.
So he graduated from Purdue in 4 years, and then that
Yes.
year already.
Then he graduated in May, and he was on this department like July the 6th.
What made your son proudest about putting on a badge and going to work every day?
What?
I think what made him proudest was the fact that he was doing what mom and dad did. But I'm going to tell you this right now, he's 10 times the police officer I ever was. No doubt.
They say that people that are normally shot in that part of the brain stem, that area, never even make it to the hospital. What's your reaction to that?
Well, my understanding is that when the emergency service people arrived, there was no pulse, and that they did CPR and still didn't get a response, but when they got him into the ambulance, he revived on himself. The doctors tell me that the bullet that they were most concerned about missed those areas that were of so fatal or mortal concern, but still a great deal is damaged, and they can't tell because every time they've tried to do an MRI or whatever, he's crashed on them because his system is so fragile. So that's why right now they're trying to get him to rest and keep him stabilized so that they can do the necessary tests.
Do you feel lucky at all about that?
I don't feel lucky. I feel blessed, let me tell you. He's still with us, and I expect that he will remain to be with us. Of course, that's what a father has to do. Let me tell you, I'm praying as hard as I can.
He's not married, please told us.
He's not, no.
A significant other or anything?
Yes, there's a young lady whose first name is Tricia. I won't really reveal her last name, but he's very fond of, and it's a fairly new relation in truthfulness. She's been here all day.
How did you let her know?
She happened to work with a friend who is I believe the spouse of a police officer who came to where she worked and told her that you just need to collect everything and let's go. David's been hurt. And they came down.
How's your wife holding up? I know you said that was a tough phone call.
It certainly was. She's doing as well as can be expected. There's nothing like a mother in this type of issue. I'm glad. I can't tell you how happy I am when she arrived here, but she's doing the best she can. I mean, this is her baby boy. What can I tell you?
Any more questions? We'd like to tell you now that we're currently updating the information regarding today's events. Tentatively, we're looking at another news conference here from IMPD with the details of today's tragic events at this location. We will give you a definite time later this evening, but right now, probably at least 2 hours.
You've been listening to retired Lieutenant Spencer Moore, the father of Officer David Moore, who was brought here this morning after he was shot.
Brave man, Spencer Moore. Wonderful to hear his comments. Certainly a lot of prayers to his family tonight. We do want to keep you updated on the suspect arrest. Our crime beat reporter Steve Jefferson has more details on the man in custody right now. Steve?
Jenny, 60-year-old Thomas Hardy was arrested in the 2300 block of Indianapolis Avenue. You see behind me, this is an ongoing investigation and an active crime scene right now. Joining me is Public Information Officer Kendall Adams. Tell me what will happen here where the arrest was made of Thomas Hardy.
Right now, we have taken Thomas Hardy into custody as a person of interest. He will be transported to the homicide branch where he will be interviewed and evidence collected at the scene.
The arrest itself here, run down how it went as far as taking him into custody.
Well, right now it's a part of the investigation. We did call out our tactical units and take Mr. Hardy into custody without any further incident.
Okay, and how active and how much support did you get from the community when it comes to leads and call-ins and tips? Did they help in this case at all?
We'll just say that the community was very productive in leading to possible leads that led us to Mr. Hardy.
Okay, and about his car, what's the situation with that right now?
Right now, again, that's part of the investigation. We're not releasing anything reference to car or what information we do have reference car.
Okay, at this time, is he the only person of interest right now?
Right now, until we get him down to a homicide and actually talk with him, he is the only person of interest.
All right, thank you, Officer Adams. We appreciate the update. Again, Thomas Hardy in custody here on Indianapolis Avenue. We'll toss it back to you in the studio. Jenny?
Okay, Steve, thanks very much. Of course, we will continue to follow the developments here, not only taking the person taken into custody, but also the condition of Officer David Moore, again, shot this morning around 9 o'clock. We'll hear from his doctors on those injuries and his condition right now when we come back. And as we continue to follow the developments in the shooting of a Metro police officer this morning, we do want to update you on that officer's condition. Doctors say the next 24 to 48 hours are crucial for 29-year-old Officer David Moore. He was shot 4 times, one of the bullets narrowly missing vital tissue. Eyewitness News reporter Chris Kirschner now shows us the challenge both he and his medical team face.
One by one, officers from departments statewide make their way to Wishart Hospital. The urgency apparent. Inside, their brother in uniform fighting for his life.
We would ask everyone in the city to pray for Officer Moore and his family.
While the city prays, doctors at Wishart work to save 29-year-old Officer David Moore, a member of IMPD's North District, who during a routine traffic stop on his beat was shot in the line of duty Sunday morning.
There are one in the chin and one right below the eye.
4 bullets hit the officer, but it was the injuries to his face that are of gravest concern for his medical team. Doctors say a bullet passed through the back of Moore's neck, narrowly missing the vital brainstem and spinal cord, instead hitting a vertebrae and blood vessel.
When a bullet passes through, it doesn't just create a hole, it creates an area of injury that surrounds that hole. And he may have some injury to parts of his brainstem or spinal cord that we can't yet see.
Right now, the officer is in a coma in the hopes they can get him to a point where they can run more tests while his family waits.
About 150 officers arrived at Wishart Hospital not long after Officer Moore, holding vigil as doctors say the next 24 to 48 hours are critical.
And we all remain hopeful.
Everyone here holding out hope that Officer Moore will be back on his feet and back on his beat again. Chris Kirschner, Channel 13, Eyewitness News.
And be sure to stay with Eyewitness News for comprehensive coverage. This is a developing story. Again, police just caught the man who they believe to be the suspect. We will bring you live reports when they're warranted. We'll also have team coverage for you on the Night Beat tonight at 11, and you can check WTHR.com 24 hours a day for the latest updates.
I'm meteorologist Nicole Smith. We're tracking snow on SkyTrack X Vision tonight. How much to expect for your morning commute? Coming up in your SkyTrack 13 forecast right after the break.
Nicole Masinczyk's SkyTrack forecast bears the seal of approval from the American Meteorological Society.
Dry across most of central Indiana right now, but our next snowmaker is looking to push into central Indiana tonight, bringing us very light snow as we head early into your Monday morning. Take a look at live Doppler 13, our western viewing area, now just getting a few flurries. This is going to be around Crawfordsville to Kingman, down through Rockville, and also to the south around Brazil. You can always get this online, WTHR.com. Temperature outside in Indy, 18, 24 in Bloomington, and 13 degrees in Peru. With winds out of the east at 10 miles per hour, we are seeing single-digit wind chills. As we head into tonight, especially after midnight, we will see that very light snow push in. We could see a dusting to up to an inch by tomorrow morning, so some slick spots will be possible out on the roadways. Tomorrow morning on sunrise, Chuck will be tracking that very light snow across central Indiana. 14 degrees tonight with the clouds on the increase and the light snow building in. For your Monday outlook, we're looking at a high of 32 degrees by 5 o'clock. We will continue to see light snow showers push through central Indiana throughout the day. Again, the daytime snow will be light, and by tomorrow morning, some slick spots with up to an inch of snow accumulation possible. Most spots getting a dusting. We stay dry for the majority of the week.
All right, Nicole, thank you very much, and we'll be right back after this. And we continue to follow that breaking news in the shooting of a Metro police officer. Again, police just caught the man considered to be a person of interest in the shooting within the hour. This is video from Chopper 13 shot earlier tonight. It shows Thomas Hardy being arrested on the city's north side, this on Indianapolis Avenue. Investigators took Hardy to Metro Police headquarters for questioning tonight. They believe he's responsible for shooting 29-year-old officer David Moore. Moore, in the meantime, is in critical condition tonight at Wishart Hospital. We heard from his father, Spencer Moore, a former lieutenant with the force, earlier tonight. He said they're praying for his recovery. He understood the risks and loved being a police officer. Of course, many prayers going to the family tonight. And we will have continuing coverage tonight on the Night Beat, including comments from Spencer Moore in addition to Metro Police. We want to get a quick check of the forecast tonight. It's going to be a little chilly, huh?
Light snow is going to be possible up to a dusting by the time you leave your house tomorrow morning.
Okay, and we'll see you back here at 11 o'clock.